Welcome to Closer to Venus. I'm Johnny Burke, and today's guest is Kelly O'Hearn. She is an intuitive channeler, tarot card reader, and author of In the Temple Shadows, Book 1 of the Arcanum Series. In this episode, we'll discuss how her past lives inspired her to use the tarot to channel a novel series about soulmates who reunite lifetime after lifetime. Kelly, welcome to the program.
Hi, Johnny. Thank you for having me.
And happy Sunday. So what made you decide to follow the tarot as a life path?
Well, actually, it's interesting because I feel more that it wasn't a decision I made. It was almost as if the tarot found me. I was at a very difficult time in my life. I was coming out of a massive physical illness journey, and I was realizing through that process that I had never really been true to myself and my heart over the course of my life. I had always done what I thought I should do, following the beliefs and to please my birth family, to please my community, to please the organized religion I grew up in, but never really being true to myself and to my heart. So as I healed my physical, I knew there had to be more. And I was just randomly in a store one day, and there was a tarot card reader, and I'd never done it. And that's how I kind of came to think to myself, oh, well, this would be different for me. Let me just try it. Let me just use this as a distraction from my life. And then it just evolved and opened up into this amazing journey.
The tarot, one of the more mysterious things about the whole mystical world. I had once had a speaker describe it as a book of ancient wisdom hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I love that. That is so well said. Because the thing about the tarot is, first of all, the tarot is a language. And it's a language of what it is to be human. And as you work with the tarot, or as you learn the tarot, depending upon your choice, it really does just illuminate what is so obvious. All of the things that we are seeking truly are hidden in plain sight. We as humans overcomplicate it, make it hard. We feel like it's supposed to be difficult, when the tarot just drills right through all of that and just shows you through this divination tool that it doesn't have to be hard. It can be easy to reconnect to yourself, to figure out who you are, to remember who you are.
And remembering who we are is a common refrain we hear in these discussions, not just about the tarot, about all things intuitive and empathic. Do you find some skepticism about the tarot being regarded as a parlor game, not to be taken seriously?
No, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because I had skepticism. Like, even when I started, having never been raised in a world where tarot was something I'd ever been introduced to, I was skeptic. And I was afraid, as I started to learn this and realize that this really was becoming an important part of my life, I was scared of judgment and people thinking and passing judgment on me and ridicule and things like that. But I can tell you, regardless of someone's skepticism, if they would give themselves the chance to allow curiosity to reign over skepticism and try it out, it's not for everybody. And I'm okay with that. Nothing is for everybody, right? But it does have the capacity to kind of break through the skepticism, because even though, Johnny, I can't tell you what happens, it reaches people. And I'm still blown away by it. I'm still like, oh my God, this is just amazing, as a divination tool, as a tool of helping people get answers and get clarity that they have been unable to achieve.
Can you give us an example how this could work for someone that comes to you with a question or an issue, and they look at the tarot and they're open-minded, but they're thinking, how is this actually going to work?
Yeah.
I know it does. You know it does, but it's kind of tricky to explain. This is one of the harder things to explain from what I've heard. It is.
So the first thing I want to dispel is that the tarot is a fortune-telling device. I don't believe in predicting the future. That's not what I do. However, the tarot, because it has visual proof, there is something to be said about seeing is believing, which is why the tarot can be so powerful for people. But what the tarot allows me to do as a reader is, when I'm working with someone, any of my clients, I can use that tool as a way to help someone break through and start to raise their frequency, their vibration, if you will, to align more with what they are seeking rather than the results that they are currently getting. Because it allows them to kind of separate themselves from their story and just kind of go into the possibility of more. And the tarot is just a tool. It's really the individual that does the work. The tarot doesn't do the work. The tarot is just a way to pull them out of their mind, if you will, and allow their energy to rise. And you know as well as I do, when our vibration rises, our reality changes.
Right. Great explanation, by the way. In the future, when someone wants an explanation of the tarot, this is going to be one of the episodes I'm going to point them to, because it's very hard to get something that even the layman could understand. Raising frequencies, we're hearing that a lot. Doesn't matter what the modality is. It could be past lives. It could be Akashic records or channeling. But why do you suppose that we're hearing that more and more these days?
Well, think about it. There's always a watershed moment in the course of human history, right? We've all learned that over the course of our education. What people have been trying through a lot of different wonderful opportunities, therapeutic opportunities, working through the filter of the mind, working through all these different filters to try to feel better. And it's not working. So all of a sudden, there's this whole shift towards energy and understanding what that is. And then we're being supported by literally our scientists, quantum physics, and all the breakthroughs that they've made there in the past 20 years to really help break it down into digestible, bite-sized truths that people then can't doubt anymore. So as doubt exits the room, it allows people's energy to start becoming more prevalent. And then as well as I do, again, it's so fun to talk to you because and we speak the same language.
I think I know. I get a lot of big questions when we're at the bar or at dinner. And one of my friends described me as, this is a guy that knows the future. I said, no, I don't.
No.
All I can tell you is what I've been told. And what is really interesting about frequencies is not only are we hearing more about how we have to raise it, but as an example, mediums talk about this a lot, where they have to raise their frequency to a certain point and the entity has to come down so there's a meeting point.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Completely.
It's the same scale. It's not like it's different for different people. It's where you are, I guess.
It is where you are. And now that people are really starting to accept and understand the scientific fact that everything is pure vibration. The couch that I'm sitting on vibrates. This physical vessel of mine vibrates. Light vibrates. Sound vibrates. It all just vibrates at a different frequency. Then that allows people to really start to open up to the possibility of, what would I feel like if I raise my frequency? What do I have to lose by trying?
What do I have to do to actually get there? And
right.
To follow up on a point that you made a moment ago, scientists making discoveries, quantum physics and so forth, it's like they're almost catching up to the mystics, because the mystics knew this, right?
Yeah.
We're not making fun of them, but I hear things like, well, scientifically can't really prove that, can you? And I think, no, but speaking of frequencies, we're talking about the hidden frequencies. So to look for them in our world, it can be kind of frustrating, right?
Yeah.
It's like trying to see through a pot full of ink black oil. You're not going to be able to see the bottom.
No, but there is a bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We do. So since your entry into the world of the tarot, what kind of intuitive experiences has that opened up for you?
Oh, it's just been a revelation. It's just been amazing. I never knew it was possible to be so comfortable with myself. So as that takes hold, all of a sudden you are open up to connecting to just the sense of possibility. And that's really what this modality is all about, is the possible in existence, not the probable. So I opened up to experiences with psychics. I opened up to experiences with astrologers. I opened up to experiences with the Enneagram and numerology, with mediums, all different modalities of energy. Like yoga is a modality of energy. Meditation is a modality of energy.
Reiki.
And Reiki, wonderful. I loved doing the Reiki. And then I also did a past life regression.
Let's talk about past lives. What made you want to actually start exploring that?
I have to tell you, it wasn't necessarily anything mystical. I still had that fear of judgment and ridicule about becoming a tarot card reader. And when I thought about just like forming a business around it and actually asking people to, the exchange of energy was, I will do your reading, you pay me money. I felt more comfortable exploring how other people ran their businesses. So I tried every different modality. And that's what led me to try a past life regression, because the woman that I used has a global reputation. She's so highly regarded. And I really wanted to see how she ran her business. It was more of a business decision. And then it just changed the course of my life.
And during this regression session, did anything come up that was noteworthy?
Very, very. What I was primarily told is I'm in a karmic loop at the moment where I have spent many of my most recent past lives as a woman, always in the company of very powerful men, but never as the wife, always as the mistress or the muse. And it was so impactful to me. I mean, I did this in 2017, and I really, even though it doesn't truly align with this lifetime that I'm living right now in terms of how it's played out so far, but it's just so impactful. And that's what led to the creation of the book.
Now, this session was with a hypnotherapist, or was it with a medium? She's
a channeler, and one of her specialties is past life regression. She channels your past lives for you.
Interesting. So yeah, there are hypnotherapists that obviously are not that empathic or mediumistic. They don't fall in that category. They're not experiencers, but they have the tools to explore those lives, which I think is really, really fascinating.
Fascinating.
Just out of curiosity, years or decades or even centuries, do you know how far you had to go back?
My oldest past life was ancient Egypt, so we're very far back.
The time of the pharaohs, or even before that?
The time of the pharaohs.
Okay. I was always curious about that time, if you had any visuals. These half human, half animal creatures we see in their history and their art, did you get an inkling of if any of those things actually did exist?
I can't speak to the point that they actually exist, like that they walked the earth. However, you have to understand those figures represent the pantheon of gods that was vital to the civilization of ancient Egypt. So their belief in their existence made them as real. They feel as real to me as if they were to come into the room and sit down next to me, because that's how strongly they believed in the truth of their gods.
Ancient Egypt. When you were experiencing that particular memory, you were a woman, or you were a man, or you were a woman?
I was channeling the story. This is how this all came about, is I used my cards to channel it. And when the cards came out that said to me, I was a mystic to the pharaoh in ancient Egypt. I was a woman, and I became the pharaoh's everything, his advisor, his mystic, his lover, his mother, all of these kind of unhealthy, toxic roles we can go to in relationships. Well, I did them all for this man, all to glorify him. I felt it. I felt it was a visceral response.
You've not only had the memories, but you actually can channel them as well, which is not super common, is it?
I can't speak to that it is or isn't. I'm the only one that I know that has ever channeled a story using the tarot to this breadth and depth. I'm channeling the content. I'm channeling the memories. It was channeled through the lens of my soul. And I've done it subsequently for my clients. A lot of my clients now come to me asking for a past life reading.
What I think is very interesting is that this is not the first time I've heard about A, book being channeled, and B, a book, or any kind of tome for that matter, which is being written based on real past life memories. It's almost as if soon that's going to be a genre or a subgenre of its own. You agree?
I completely agree. And if you think about it, all artists, all creators, when they get into that zone, be it a painter, a sculptor, a writer, whatever, where they're in that creative zone, they're channeling. They may not call it that, but they are at a very high vibration and they are connected to their higher self. That's channeling. I just happen to use the tarot uniquely to channel it.
I had someone on the show recently who was saying that most, if not all, the Star Wars movies were all channeled.
Oh, how could they not be? I completely believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it does make a lot of sense. Since we're on the topic, what kind of insights have you gained about the reincarnation cycle and, for that matter, karma?
It's been a really, really interesting, eye-opening journey to learn about this, because what I've realized and what I've come to learn is that linear time, the way we define it as humans in this third dimensional reality, is not real. It doesn't exist to energy. It's a man-made construct to keep us organized. So all of these past lives are all going on at the same time. Time and energy exist differently in existence. So we can hopscotch all over the human timeline from lifetime to lifetime. It's not sequential. It's not as if it has to go in numerical order year by year or century by century. That was very interesting for me to really learn when I really did a deep dive. And in terms of karma, I'm so grateful to have all these opportunities to achieve and complete karmic lessons that my soul needs to do in order to evolve and expand and to continue to grow. I think it's a gift to have the privilege of the opportunity to keep having a chance to get it right.
Right. And sometimes it might take hundreds, if not thousands of times, as we've been told.
We can be slow to learn.
Many, many times, hundreds, if not thousands. And I guess that's okay. It's actually comforting to know that once our bodies expire in this lifetime, that's not the end. The not so good news is that, based on what I'm told, you have to be accountable for your actions one way or the other. So we have reincarnation, we have karma, we have past lives. When I hear someone talk about past lives, I always want to ask, do you believe somewhere in the universe that past actually exists? Or is it just like a movie?
No, I believe it exists.
Do you think it's possible to actually go back in time in 1886, for example?
Yes. As I have learned through physics, like I said, everything's happening at once. And even though our human mind I can't grasp it fully. It's really hard for me to understand the breadth of what that really means. So my past life in ancient Egypt is happening right now as you and I are sitting here having this conversation.
That's so crazy. But if you could conceivably go back there, using that as an example, if you went ahead and did something crazy like murdered the pharaoh or whatever, wouldn't that impact the reality here or not necessarily?
I would think so. And what you're talking about more is time travel. And that I cannot speak to. I don't know much about that particular field. But yes, that would, of course, alter the course of what would happen. But again, I have come to realize that everything happens for a reason. So even if humans were to evolve and rise to the point where we could time travel, like we could transcend linear time, that would be what was meant to happen.
The time travel thing is fascinating. There's obviously been movies about it. Personally, I think it's a stretch, but I did have one gentleman on the show who specializes in that type of thing. And I did ask him, is it possible to, let's say, reincarnate into the past? And he said, I think so. Let's talk about the book. So in book 1, the soulmates, they reunite lifetime after lifetime. What was their mission?
So in the book Arcanum, in book 1, it's a past life in ancient Egypt as well as a current lifetime. And you will find that the whole point is that sometimes happily ever after takes more than one lifetime. And you have these soulmates that are so destined and so meant to be together to really actualize this love and connection that they have. But lifetime after lifetime, they just can't quite get it right. And they can't quite make the choice, that leap of faith, if you will, to really embrace true love. And we all do it. We all have our reasons why. Those are our shadows. It's our wounds. So in the ancient Egypt book, in this first book, in the Temple Shadows, it's my character, the woman that's based on my soul, that chooses Egypt and the Pharaoh over love. She chooses power over love.
Okay. So what happens in the very next lifetime?
So the next lifetime is book 2, which I'm currently writing, and that's in Renaissance France. So there's the 2 soulmates, but then there are 3 other characters, and all 5 of them are in the books. It's these 5 souls that reincarnate through space and time. And again, it's how each soul works in tandem with each other, trying to support the soulmates to come together. But really, the lessons of Arcanum are really about the heroine's story and her soul ascension into finding herself and discovering herself truly worthy of love.
Now, in your channeling, do you have any experience in the space in between incarnations?
Not the way that I know you're posing the question, in terms of where I go with the soul as they are transitioning from lifetime to lifetime. I have been in that space with my clients before and with their loved ones, but it's not something that I intentionally do. It's not something that I advertise. It's just kind of something that happens when I'm channeling. It doesn't last for very long.
Well, from what I'm told, and I bring this up because you're talking about books that are channeled based on your memories, every single person who's been in that space makes it sound like what you describe as the characters in the book. Mm-hmm. It's like characters in a stage play or a movie, right?
Yeah.
Everybody says that. There's some details that obviously are going to vary, but it's like casting a movie.
Yeah. I've heard that from people about their near-death experiences and, people that have legally died and then come back into their body. Everyone says, oh my gosh, it was like a play.
Right. And they also say what you mentioned about time being nonlinear, without a doubt, every single one.
Yeah.
Everything is happening at once. So if you're looking at an axis going left to right, it's almost like you have to flip it. So you're looking down a straight line, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So you do agree that these people are participating in some kind of a state like a Shakespearean play, lifetime after lifetime. Hopefully they get things right. As a mere mortal, that's the only conclusion I can come up with. Is there anything I'm missing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, at the end of the day, it really kind of goes down to that simple fact that all of these wonderful experiences that we have, whether we believe in past lives or not. I mean, I know there are plenty of people that don't believe in that, but the lifetime that you are living and all the lifetimes that you live are really in order to try and help you really become really more of yourself, like your true self, aligned with your soul, aligned with who you are meant to be in a way that will take you and just take you on a journey of evolving and learning and joy, and life becomes fun. It just becomes more fun.
So if you had to pick one thing other than what you just told me about what you hope people will take away from reading your books, what would it be?
Well, I really hope that anyone that reads the books really ponders for themselves, where is my life that I have not aligned with the life that I want? And what do I need to do? Do I have the courage to take that on in this lifetime? Do I have the courage to make a change? Because it takes a lot of courage to do this energetic path, to open up to your true self, because what it will demand that where you are ignoring yourself, where you are ignoring the call of your soul, you will have to turn toward that and really dig deep to say, do I have the courage to take on a health journey? Do I have the courage to take on perhaps leaving my primary relationship? Whatever it is. And my book allows people the idea, the thoughts, and hopefully the certain chapters, certain sections, they'll be like, that resonates with me. Ask yourself why. Why does that resonate with you? Where in your life are you maybe not having a look? That's what I really hope. But at the end of the day, it is for entertainment and for people to just consider, did I have past lives? What would they have been?
Good point. And do you think that maybe by reading the books, that might activate something within them?
Definitely. I've already heard that from a lot of readers. A lot of people have reached out to me saying, oh my God, it was like you were telling my story and I want to learn more. I don't know why, but I need to know more. So it is starting to spark within people just a curiosity about the more that they could have in life, which you achieve, in my opinion, through energy.
Right. And energy is in everything. So reading one of your books, if they're really paying attention, can be an energetic experience, right?
100%.
It reminds me of a woman that we interviewed, Jamita, and she's a medicine woman channeler type person. It's really, really interesting. And she talked about Peru a lot and the sacred sites like Machu Picchu, Lake Titicaca. Mm-hmm. Even those people that are just casual about it, when they go to these sites, they're activated by something, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
That seems far-fetched to some people, but to me, it makes total sense, because they're energetic centers.
Yeah. The planet has energetic vortexes. They measure it. It's measurable. Machu Picchu being one of them.
And ancient Egypt as well.
100%. Huge one. Huge.
You had past lives in ancient Egypt. Think of not only the Egyptian pyramids, but pyramid-like structures all over the world.
They're everywhere.
They weren't there just to store grain, were they?
No.
Some people will ask.
That's good.
It's true, though. I mean, they were energetic vortexes of some sort that were aligned with energy grids or something in the earth.
Yeah, in the earth and in the cosmos. They're also very much based on astronomy. Mm-hmm.
One last question, because Egypt is one of the more fascinating topics in this mysterious world of ours. Do you think that the Egyptians had help from extraterrestrials, star beings, star people? Okay,
I love this question. And I love this question because it's not that simple. We believe that these extraterrestrials will come in UFOs and talk to the ancient Egyptians. I believe the ancient Egyptians had the ability to break out of this third dimensional reality and access frequencies of other dimensional realities where other civilizations reside and exist, right? And we all have the capacity to do that. It's just, like you mentioned, we circle back to the beginning. raising our frequency high enough and those beings lowering their frequency low enough to kind of meet in the middle somewhere. I think the ancient Egyptians had that vast capacity to break through the dimension that we live in with our five senses and access that knowledge.
There are stories and even experiences of people that have memories that go that far back.
Yes.
That will indicate that their technology was very, very advanced. The pyramids were not built with slave labor. It was with methods much more advanced.
Oh, yeah. It was with frequency. It was with sound.
Sound, right.
Mm-hmm.
Heard that more than once, too.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. Anything else we should know, at least for today?
I mean, no, I'm so enjoying this. This has been such a privilege for me, and I can't thank you enough.
It's been our pleasure. It's really, really great stuff. And I think the more a lot of us dive into the world of the hidden frequencies, there's just that much more that we don't know about. So we crack on, as the English say. Awesome.
Crack on.
I
like
crack on. All right. Kelly, thanks so much for joining us today. In the meantime, how can our listeners find you online?
I have a website. It's KELLYOH.life is my website for my tarot readings. And then my book is arcanumseries.com.
We will put that in the show notes and the transcript as well. You've been listening to Closer to Venus. I'm Johnny Burke. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing. You can find more info on closertovenus.com and mindbodyspirit.fm. Thanks again for joining, and we'll see you next time.